Listen, I'm thankful for you, brother. I'm thankful to be surrounded by such great dudes, such a be a part of such a great Michigan community. Gives me an opportunity to do something that I wanted to do last year, but it fits more this week in this show, this pre-Thanksgiving show, to talk about what we're thankful for, to be able to reach out to people that will help when you need it. That is the case with our friends at Golden Limo. You guys know Freddie J, Fred Jackson. Fred Jackson was a, and Ben, if you can get the Fred Jackson piece for me real quick. He went over to coach at Ypsi High and realized when he got over there what a need. I mean, you had guys were sharing helmets, guys were sharing
Malpractice everywhere.
yeah, they were sharing cleats. There were crater sized holes in the field. They didn't have goalposts, and they needed help from people in the community. And one of the people that really stepped up was Sean Duvall at Golden Limo. So when we talk about Golden Limo, it's not just about the great transportation service that they offer, whether it's driving the Michigan team, whenever they take a bus trip to the airport or to East Lansing or to Columbus, what have you, they're riding on those Golden buses. To Michigan Stadium, you'll see a caravan of Golden buses making it over there. Same thing for other teams in the athletic department. Same thing for across campus. They ride on Golden. When I went to Rome and Paris, I rode on Golden to the airport. They picked me up at the airport too when I got overseas. And when
When
I
I
came
went to a
home,
game, I rode on Golden.
you rode on Golden. It is just if you need to get someplace, you need to get there safely and on time, every time, goldenlimo.com. Buses, executive transport, your navigators, your aviators, party buses, they have you covered. But it's about what they do in the community. So, Ben, if you can bring up right now Golden's commitment to the community, and let's hear from Sean Duvall about how he was a part of making a difference over at Ipsy High.
So we've talked so much about all the work you do in the community. There's so many different initiatives that you've been a part of. One that I think would resonate with a lot of people who love Michigan was the work that you were doing over at Ipsy High with Fred Jackson when
Oh
he
my
was
God.
active over there. What about that?
You know, Fred, I don't, people need to know Fred Jackson's story. They just need to know this guy could have played for Bear Bryant, right? And he ends up at Jackson State. And it's not like a horrible thing. He got to play with Walter Payton and Eddie
Hmm.
Payton, right? But then he coaches around. He ends up at Michigan and coaching with the great coaches of Michigan, longest serving coach in Michigan history. So when you take somebody like that, and he had a couple of years away from Michigan, and what did he do in that time? He went to Ipsy schools and became the head coach. I mean, so you take all of that history and you bring that over to the Ypsilanti community, and these guys are seeing this coach, and it's like somebody to look up to. Like, this is the promise, this is the dream. This guy can help you get there. You're giving somebody to these kids to keep their eyes on. He didn't have any kids that were eligible. I think there was like 3 or 4 kids that were eligible. So he just got to work getting the kids eligible. When he got there was like 2 or 3 kids with cars in the whole football program. 2 or 3 kids with cars. So transportation was an issue. And it was just one thing after another. The field had dinner plate sized sprinkler heads, and this guy shows up there and he starts gathering people around him. Bill Martin showed up, Tim Wadhams, Jamie Buer, Howdy Holmes, all these guys just started. The county showed up. So they didn't have goalposts. Goalposts were laying on the ground. And these kids from Ipsy get on a bus and they travel over to Saline. They don't have goalposts standing.
Hmm.
Saline has 2 turf fields,
Hmm.
and you're like in a college campus. So anyway, these guys just started chipping in. Fred Jackson pulls all these people together, and I'm no different. And we just started saying, "What do you need? What do you need?" So we got the goalpost up. We fixed the sprinkler heads. We got shoes for the kids. A kid comes running off the field, and he's why are you running like that? He turns over his shoe. He's got his foot's on the ground. So we got cleats for the kids, and um, helmets. The guy could take his helmet off and give it to the guy next to him, and he'd go into it. It's like, this can't be happening in Washington County. And so Fred Jackson's engagement there, he really showed a lot of those kids that there is a different way, that people, you do matter. You and look at all these people who are investing in you. That's what he's trying to show them. But Fred left coaching. He couldn't coach the football team because as he got into the school, he realized this is so much bigger. So many more kids need my help. And he became the dean of students at Ypsi schools. It's a national championship ring on his finger, coached for some of the greatest coaches in the land, um, played with Walter Payton. And here he is, the dean of students at Ypsi schools, every day, walking through the neighborhoods of West Willow, knocking on doors, trying to get kids to get engaged from during COVID. Fred showed me a book, and I said, Fred, and so he opens the book, and it's a story of one of the kids in one of the neighborhoods. What's crazy about this, Sam? Turns the page, and it's another one on the backside, another on the backside, a book that's full. And I said, Fred, I need that book. I'm going to go raise some more money from you. I need that book. And he's, hang on. And he goes to his truck. Sorry. He brings 4 more books, front and back. I mean, that's Fred Jackson going to doors and knocking on doors and talking to guys. And so do you write a check for him? Do you just say, what do you need? What do you need? You got people like Jamie Brewer. I was telling you about him earlier. Just write a check so that you can give out gift cards to kids because they don't have a jacket or they hadn't eaten in days. In Ypsi, that's happening in Ypsi, and that's what Fred was doing. So now he's back with Michigan, and so he's not as engaged there as much. But every year we would take a group of kids. Fred would just get this group of kids and we'd go to Puffer Reds. I don't know if you've been over to Puffer Reds, but it is a really,
Have
really
I been
cool
over
story.
to Puffer Reds? What kind of question is that?
Well, I
Come
mean,
on, man.
it's just the coolest thing because we take a busload of kids over there,
That is cool.
and they've got a gift card, and they go through Puffer Reds, and they can buy shoes and jackets, and we just do it. We've done it every year for 3 years. We took them down to the Wright Museum in Detroit. That was a fun time, and just giving this group of kids a different experience. When on the football team, they got on a bus and they went out to Grass Lake. And some of those kids said, is this like Michigan?
Mm.
And to them, that it was their first experience outside of Ypsilanti. And so we knew then we've got to help there. We've got to make sure that these kids have experiences so that they know that Grass Lake ain't Lake Michigan.
Right.
And they know that if they go downtown Detroit, that there's some really cool stuff, and there's people that look like them that are really, really successful, and they can be too, and that they count and that they matter. It's hard to see that when you don't have goalposts and you're driving over to a college campus 6 miles away. But when you see that all these people start to rally around you, and you see somebody like Fred Jackson, who's been to the mountain, now he's coming back and he's like, I'm going to pull you up here too.
Yeah, that was without question one of the sit downs that took on a different tone. We started out really lighthearted, and then you got a chance to see where that man's heart is and where a lot of the hearts are of people. That's one of the great things about this Ann Arbor community. People, their willingness to extend themselves for others, and that certainly is the case with Sean Duvall and the folks over at Golden Limo. And that's just one example. Kids who had never really been outside of Ypsi, kids who are sharing helmets, kids who have cleats that are falling apart. Football is like a metaphor for life.
Yeah, I remember when Coach Jay first went over there. He's like, man, it's just nothing but blight, man. Like he comes and he's trying to do everything he can, because you got to think about this. I mean, I don't know how many people know Freddie J is a legend, right? Legend don't need to coach at Ypsi High School. He don't need to coach high school football. He doesn't need to do any of that. But he did that out of the kindness of his heart. And will they win a bunch of games? Probably not. Right? I'm sure he's went in thinking we don't have enough. But the one thing I can do is change the outlook for these kids and their lives forever. And I think he definitely did that.